From Helmut Marko claiming de Vries was too slow, to Ralf Schumacher saying this exit's a career death sentence for him, these are the real reasons Nick de Vries was axed by Red Bull. Nick couldn't match the pace of his teammate, and that's one of the reasons why he's being let go.
Helmut Marko was one of the first people to break the silence over this shocking firing, saying that Nick's pace just wasn't what they were looking for, and compared his stats with Yuki Tsunoda, which revealed that he was consistently 0.3 slower.
He even said de Vries showed a lack of ever since he joined the team, and that he wasn't the same driver who drove that Williams in 2022 and finished in the points on his debut. This decision is extremely shocking, and a lot of fans criticized Red Bull for not giving him enough time to improve. The Red Bull chief said they had no option but to sack him, because they weren't seeing any progress from him. Heck, he even said the guy shouldn't be considered a rookie anymore, because he's driven different Formula One cars and is already 28 years old. Yeah, you may be right, Marko, but it's tough to adjust yourself in F1 when you've only been there for 10 races. Marko's right about Nick struggling a lot this season, and we all knew he wasn't going to remain in this seat next year. But the main issue is the timing of this news. Nick himself will be extremely disappointed at Red Bull for not giving more time. His home race is after the summer break as well, and they didn't even give him the chance to drive there. But you see, Red Bull had their reasons. Because the team wasn't considering him a rookie, the pressure was immediately on him to perform, with no one giving him any time to settle in. This is an important point to remember when talking about this sacking, because he's a Formula 2 champion and a Formula E champion, served as a test driver far more times than any other rookie, and has a lot more racing experience than a normal F2 graduate. Yeah. He might be new to a full season in F1, but he's far more experienced than any other driver joining the grid for the first time. And even though the fans aren't happy with the timing of this decision, Helmut's absolutely satisfied with it and said there was no point in waiting. He said they had high expectations from him in Baku. He even started the weekend well, and everyone thought he was going to perform better. But then he crashed again. Marko said the driver didn't even do one super lap, and the team wasn't impressed by it at all. Look, Marko's a man who's known for his brutal honesty, and he isn't shy at all about speaking the truth whenever it's needed. Why wait 2 more races when there's no improvement? Even though Nick's a pleasant guy, his pace wasn't there, and it was affecting the team a lot. Say what you will about Marko, but he's someone with loads of experience and knows F1 drivers well. This makes you ask this question: what exactly went wrong for him at Alphatauri? Cause his performance at Monza last year was excellent. If a driver's signing depended on one race only, then this one was an excellent case in Nick's favor. Alphatauri impulsively decided to sign a driver based on just one race, which didn't sit well with a lot of fans. It was concerning to them how a modern F1 team can have such key decisions made this way. To pick him on a whim was bad enough, but to drop him after only 10 races was even worse. Ideally, Red Bull had nothing to gain by allowing him to stay until the end of the season and replacing him with the same driver anyway. But then again, they also had nothing to lose by sacking him now, cause they aren't in a position to compete at the moment. Despite Yuki's efforts to finish in points, they can't compete with the top 6 teams because they're so evenly matched at the top. There's no way that they could have finished in the top 10.
And that's why they made the decision to let Nick go and sign Daniel Ricciardo. Cause why not give it a shot when you've got nothing to lose? This move may turn out to be great for him. But is success really guaranteed with Daniel on board? The answer is simple: no. I mean, I love Ricciardo as much as the next person.
And I've got nothing against the guy. But after his 2 seasons at McLaren, Red Bull thinks he can do much better. Yeah, he may have performed well in the RB19 at the tire test, but that isn't the car he'll be driving. And those weren't the tires that are being used this season. There's a massive difference between the RB19 and AlphaTauri's car this season, and no one has any idea how well he's going to do there. This only makes me want to sympathize with de Vries, and I'm not the only one who feels this way, Martin Brundle does too. He's expressed his sympathy for the guy and has added him to the list of Red Bull drivers who've faced difficulties in their careers, and y'all already know there are quite a few drivers on that list. Brundle felt Nick was desperate to perform in the races, and that's the reason why he failed, because he was always worried about his position on the team, and that didn't let him focus completely on the races. Despite all these struggles, Martin said the driver possesses great potential, and his recent performances don't suggest how good he is. Heck, he even said the guy deserved more time, and that it's sad to watch such a talented guy go down like this. We feel you, Martin, but Brundle isn't the only one siding with the Dutchman. Former champ Sebastian Vettel's also spoken up and thinks it's a shame the way things ended for the driver. Seb said this was an opportunity for him to prove himself on the biggest stage, but things didn't go as planned for him. Or maybe people expected too much from the guy. Still, he said the way things ended for him was brutal, and he hopes that this exit won't put a dent in his racing career. But so far, it looks like there's no place for him on the F1 grid anymore. But what's next for the guy now? Look, it's easy to forget sometimes, but there is a racing world outside of F1. And even though Nick might not be racing here anymore, but there are plenty of other places he can go. He already has a promising career in endurance racing, having already won the 6 hours of Fuji and bagging podiums at 8 hours of Bahrain and 6 hours of Monza. Plus, Formula E's also open to him, and there's no doubt a team would be keen to take on a former champ. Also, let's not forget IndyCar as well, because that's a real option for him. And even the door to rally racing's open if he wants a real change. But all in all, what I'm trying to say is he isn't going to struggle for a drive elsewhere in the world. But that doesn't mean he doesn't want to come to Formula One. 'Cause only 24 hours after his exit from the team, he was spotted in a Monaco cafe with the Mercedes boss Toto Wolff. And before you guys get too excited thinking he might get a chance at Mercedes, I should tell you that these two have known each other for a long time. The Dutchman most likely turned to his former boss for counseling, and nothing more than that, because as far as his F1 dreams go, Marco thinks he's never returning. Yeah, he doubts another Tjikaarser. One door will open for De Vries. He doesn't think he'll ever get the chance at Formula One again, and he knew something like this was coming. He even pointed him toward endurance racing by saying he has the talent to build a nice career in long-distance racing. Well, at least he pointed him in the right direction, and still thinks that he's got a future in racing. But he isn't the only one who thinks this way. Even Ralf Schumacher thinks this exit's a career death sentence for him. The former driver expressed his disappointment with the timing of this decision, but said it was the right call to make, because Nick's performances haven't been the greatest. He also thinks that De Vries won't be able to find a place anywhere else, and as harsh as it may sound, it's completely right when talking about an F1 return. But if we're talking anywhere else in the world, yeah, Ralph might be wrong about that part, because a guy as talented as him can definitely make room for himself outside of Formula One. So, there you have it. From Ralf Schumacher saying this exit's a career death sentence for him, to Helmut Marko claiming De Vries was too slow. Those were the real reasons De Vries was axed by Red Bull.